Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham of goodforthegame.co.za, and welcome to this Stage 11 Tour de France betting preview. Well, before we talk about Stage 11, I did mention that you didn't want to leave the TV for any moment in time in Stage 10, and so it proved to be. We had a very, very exciting stage. It was always nailed on for the breakaway to arrive, and at the end you could probably sit back and say, well, the breakaway landed, but, well, it was anything but a simple stage. The breakaway took ages to get away. When it finally got away, we certainly had some strong riders in it who would ultimately fight out the stage. But there were times along the way where it actually looked as though there might actually be a chase on and the break might even get chased down. At one stage, we were treated to the quite incredible sight of Wout van Aert and Mathieu van der Poel trying to bridge a 3-minute gap on their own. I thought that was absolutely amazing. Anyway, it didn't work and they were swallowed up by the peloton. Even Philipsen at one stage seemed to have designs on the stage. So that was quite unbelievable. Going back a little bit, we had Pogacar and Vingegaard in the early break. Once again, always unlikely to stick, although it was interesting to see how UAE sort of kept pushing with that, even when it was clear that it hadn't really worked to surprise Vingegaard there. So quite a few surprises, including the fact that Wout van Aert wasn't that strong when he was looking to get where he sort of blew up a little bit today, which was quite a surprise. Anyway, it was Pella Balboa who managed to get the victory in the end. There was heartbreak for Nylands, who finished fourth. He broke away on the final climb, and he was holding 15, 20 seconds. He just couldn't get clear of the chase group, and in the end, he was chased down. The van on the Good for the Game forum, and by the way, you can keep an eye on the forum bets down below. There is a link to that as well as to our betting newsletter. The van had Nylands at 180 to 1, so disappointed for him that he didn't arrive. But Balboa, well done to at Kruet Lem, who posted on the WhatsApp group and on Twitter that he took 9 to 1 in running on Balboa, and in the end he controlled the end of that stage quite well, and he was too quick for Zimmerman. With Ben O'Connor showing some improved legs, although he still battled a bit on the climbs, coming in third, and Chavez, well, we haven't seen a stage like that for him in quite some time. I was a bit worried Pedrero would win because I had him at like 300 to 1 the other day, and I thought I've totally missed out. I had the wrong Movistar guy today. I had Aramburu in my selection today. It would have been a bit disappointing for me if he had won. Before we move on to the analysis of Stage 11, please hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you enjoy these previews. It really, really helps the channel a lot. Right, let's go. Before we get onto the analysis, quick look at the latest outright betting. Obviously, no real change in the general classification. There we got Pogacar 9 to 10, Vingegaard even money. Philipsen, I can tell you, very short in the green jersey at about 1 to 8. We got Pogacar at 11 to 4 for the King of the Mountains. But the other classification I'll just have a look at here is Ineos Grenadiers. They were short as 4 to 10 at one stage. They're now 4 to 6. They've still very much got the team to win this classification, and they may even do it by default in the mountains. But Bahrain Victorious have moved ahead of them now and extended their lead slightly today. They are 9 to 4 second favourites. We've got Jumbo-Visma, who would probably have to win it accidentally at 7 to 1. And then my 25 to 1 selection up front, AG2R, they're hanging in there. They're still 13 minutes behind Bahrain Victorious. I'm hoping that at some stage they can put one over, sneak someone else into the break. But not tomorrow, because I don't think tomorrow is going to be a breakaway stage. Let's have a look at the profile there. The sprinters haven't really had a proper sprint stage for a while, and they're not getting a proper sprint stage until quite close to the end of the Tour de France. I think this one is nailed on for a sprint. But let's have a look at the route. We've got quite a flat start. We've got sort of 27 kilometers flat. Before we do go up a Cat 4 climb here, 1.9 kilometers at 5%. There's a descent and then another 2.9 kilometers at 4.6%. So, in fact, this sort of looks like this last part of the climb is potentially categorized, but I don't know. It looks almost longer to me on the profile there. But the bottom line is, what's going to be key to the stage is when does the break get away? Does it get away on the flat section here? The sprinters team will certainly be hoping so, because what the sprinters teams want is a relatively weak break to go clear so that they can control it for the sprint finish. If, though, there's a battle to get into the break, and bear in mind now, if this was stage 1 of the tour, I would almost say without a doubt it'll be just a small break that will get away. But now we're late on in the tour. We've got lots of tired legs. Today it was a long, hard day in the saddle for the guys. Well, not necessarily that long, but it was certainly hard. And there's a lot of very tired riders there. And there could be quite a battle to get into the break. If the break only forms over one of these Cat 4 climbs, then it's going to be a very strong break. It means it's going to be a lot of hard work for the sprinters teams. At the end of the day, though, I think there's a lot of sprinters teams who are going to have an interest in bringing this back. Of course, that can also change if a sprinters team actually gets a rider into the break as well. So we'll have to just see how things pan out. But the likes of certainly the likes of Philipson and his team will certainly be looking to chase it down. And I think they'll get plenty of help to chase the breakdown. So you can see the first half of the stage here is the toughest half. And then we go a relatively flat little bit of rolling hills down to the end here. So there is a Cat 4 climb here, 1.6 kilometers at 5.4%. And that peaks out with somewhere around 60 kilometers still remaining. So this is going to be it's very hard to look past the breakaway here, but I wouldn't say it's impossible that the break could stick. If a really strong break went on these climbs here. But I was super impressed with Philipson today. I mean, at one stage, he even put his team on the front and wanted them to ride to chase down the break. That shows the legs he had, even though there was still a big climb to come. So he is really looking good. Let's have a look at the betting for the stage now. We've got Jasper Philipson here at 11 to 10. Dylan Groenewegen, who is probably the only guy I can see potentially beating him in a straight-up sprint at 7 to 1. Wout van Aert, difficult to know what to make of Wout van Aert at the moment. Lots of talk that he'll be leaving the race with his wife going to give birth, and that. Not only that, but he just hasn't quite. He's shown some brilliant signs, but he hasn't quite looked at his best. And this being a flat sprint is not really his strength. He prefers the sort of rising sprints. Caleb Ewan, he had a real battle today. He's 10 to 1. Certainly got the speed on a flat sprint. It'll depend on recovery. Jakobsen 12 to 1. He's looking awful at the moment. That doesn't mean he can't sprint, but I do think he's even going to battle to make the sprint here, given those early climbs if they are ridden at any sort of pace. Mats Pedersen, well, he's won a stage already. That was on a rising sprint. He's not as quick on these flatter stages. Phil Bauhaus, he's had a couple of podiums already. And yeah, I'd have to say that 18 to 1 may not be the worst price for him, although he does look to be struggling a little bit at the moment. Mateo van der Poel, pretty unlikely, as I'm pretty sure he's going to be leading Philipson out. And then Gourmet, who hasn't really impressed me as much as I expected him to in this tour. He's 22 to 1. May as well quickly chat about Sam Welsford, 33 to 1. He's got the speed, but also seems to be struggling. Right, I'm going to keep this bet very simple indeed. And I'm going to go with, and it's time for me to start making money in this Tour de France. I've loved the tour, but as I was tweeting earlier, I just can't catch these stages. I did say it would be a break today, so did everyone else, but I never ride in the break. In fact, only Morich at one stage looked like getting in the break for me. So that's been disappointing. But my one nice win, or one of my only wins so far, has been a Philipson win. And I'm going for him here, 5 units, which is a big bet for me by Tour de France standards, at 11 to 10. And the reason I'm taking 5 units is if you're betting here in South Africa, you can have an account with World Sports Betting. You can get your stake back for second place in terms of their promotion. All the details, of course, are on their site. But I'm going for Philipson to win here. I see a sprint finish, and if there is a sprint finish, I would be very surprised if he ran outside the top 2. And I'm expecting him to win it. He really looks to be the strongest of the sprinters at the moment in terms of durability. But not only that, but he's pretty much the fastest as well. So I'm going for Philipson there at 11 to 10. Thanks very much for listening, and look forward to joining you again at sometime on Wednesday night or early, maybe Thursday morning for the Stage 12 betting preview. Enjoy the stage, and let's hope we have a great sprint finish with the green jersey getting over the line first.